Okay, so in Soul Calibur we use a thing referred to as notation, and it's a way of expressing all the moves in the game, um, using certain sort of characters, letters, and numbers to refer to the same thing. So we can speak to each other in terms of the moves. So instead of saying to each other, "Oh, so you know that move that Cervantes has, where he chucks up into the air and does this huge combo afterwards." You know, here's a few moves like that. But if we say 3B, we always know what we're referring to when we say 3B. It's always the same thing. And then when we have that, we can attribute the information, the details of the moves that we can determine in the frame data. So you don't need to understand notation, but to really get a grasp of like Soul Calibur at a high level, you do need to understand notation, so then you can read frame data and then understand from that. Because if you don't, you can only learn second hand. If you don't learn notation, you don't know frame data. You can only learn higher level things from other players. You lack sort of the tools to go and find out yourself, to go and open frame data, find something new that no one's found. And believe me, there are things that no one's thought up yet. No one's done. I've got a ton of things with Natsu that I've yet to see anyone else sort of come across and implement. And you can do the same. You find things that no one else has, but you can't if you don't have these basic sort of understanding of notation. And it's not too hard. It's not rocket science. It's pretty simple. It's just a way of understanding the moves, how they work, and expressing combos and punishes, and speaking about the game on a way that is technical and exact and specific. So you haven't got to describe the move, you just say, this move, this is a combo, this and this. So there's sort of two parts of notation. There's the numbers, well, I guess it's kind of three. There's the numbers, there's the letters, and then there's the extra stuff. So the combined letters, like A plus B, and I guess you could say that the extra symbols like WR for War Rising and such. So I'll go over the numbers first. Now, for the numbers, the best way to understand it is to picture a keypad, and I'll probably put a picture up right now while I'm speaking. I'll put a picture up of a keypad so we can best understand it. So along the top row you've got 7, 8, and 9. In the middle you've got 4, 5, 6. And in the bottom you've got 1, 2, 3. And the way we use this is if you picture the stick, so the stick that you use to input directions, you imagine that sitting on the keypad on top of the 5. So when you push the stick to the right, you're pushing it to 6, to the 6. When you push it back, you're pushing to the 4. When you push up, you're pushing to the 8, and when you push down, you're pushing to the 2. Now this is it essentially. So if I say to you, give me a 3, have 3 input, you'll input down and right on your controller. And then if you're on a 2-player side, you flip it around. All you do is you just mirror it. You just mirror it over. So a 3 on the other side of the screen. If you're on the 2-player side, it's down and left. You just mirror it on the horizontal axis. I don't know. Someone who knows science will correct me. You flip it on one axis, but like a mirror. You flip it on one axis, not the other, not both. So yeah. So a 6 on the left-hand side as one player 1, is to the right. 6 on the left-hand side is to the left. You just got to remember to reverse. And generally we speak referring to the left-hand side on the one-player side. Generally we just refer to that because it's easier. So that's that. The best way to understand this is just to picture the keypad. Really, just picture the number pads. You might have it on your phone or whatever. Just keep thinking about it, and then eventually you'll memorize what a 1 is, what a 7 is. Again, a 5 is just no direction. A 5 is neutral. A 5 is you don't press the stick at all. It just stays in middle. Okay, so as for the letters, you have A, B, K, and G. Now A is on the. I'm gonna use Xbox controllers here. I would use PlayStation as well, but I've completely forgot PlayStation buttons where they are. I think. No, I'm not even going to say. It's just going to confuse people if I get it wrong. Okay, so an A is it's normally, and for the sake of simplicity, it will be X on the Xbox controller. That's A. And A's generally are horizontals, which are sort of left to right moves that will track step. If you do horizontal when someone's stepping, you will hit them stepping. You'll catch their step. So the horizontals, and it's typified with AA. Every character has an AA. I don't think Sheba has one, does he? I don't know. He doesn't have a lot of things. So yeah, AAs are horizontals usually, not always. Some exceptions. Now, B's are going to be on the Y button of the controller, or the triangle, I think, for PS. Yeah, so the Y button on an Xbox controller is the B. B's are verticals, and verticals are like the up-down moves that won't catch step usually, and they will hit you if you duck. So, because they almost always mids. So, and not always. So you can think of like a BB here. I think every character has a BB. BB, it's 2 mids, up down or not. It's usually up down. Yeah. So verticals usually mids. Horizontals are usually highs, not always, but most of the time highs. And then K is a B on the Xbox controller. Ks are usually kicks. Again, not always. For example, Nightmare 6K is like a shoulder barge, I think, or 6K is a shoulder barge. But a K would generally, a K move is with like the body. It's not with a weapon. Not always, but usually. And that lies on the B button. So so now we can sort of combine these two together, and I can say to you, right, show me a 6B, and then now, for the information I've just given you, you know that 6B is right with a stick and then Y with the Xbox controller at the same time. Easy. 4A is back, so left on the stick and then X on the controller. And then 8K would be up on the controller, up on the stick on the controller, and then a B on the Xbox button. A on the Xbox button is G, and this is block. So it's just G is just A, or I think X on the PS. So that's that. Nice and easy. Now the next part is to understand when it gets a bit more complex. So if you have something like A plus B, it literally means X and Y on the Xbox controller at the same time. However, because we have bumpers and triggers, we can bind more to. We can bind an A plus B input onto an additional button. So by default, right bumper RB is A plus B. So you press bumper, and the game actually registers as if you were pressing X and Y together. And you can test this. You can press X and Y together, and you'll get the same thing as an A plus B. So, for example, Natsu A plus B is the one where she sort of jumps forward and does a swipe as she comes down from the air. It's a very common tool you'll see from her. Very common, very famous move. Used to be 6-6A with Taki. Anyway, so you can have that come out with a right bumper press or with an X and Y press. Most people, well, not most, by default people will use RB, it's easier, isn't it? You just press one button instead of pressing two at the same time, because you can easily mess that up if you don't time it right. And yeah, a B plus G is the A button and the Y button at the same time, but again we have left trigger, which is B plus G. It's an additional bind. And now if you think of, there's these sort of controllers called hitboxes, and they only have the four keys, I think, 3 or 4 buttons, and they stick. So you don't have triggers, you don't have bumpers. It's old school. When you need a simultaneous press, as A plus B is referred to, or B plus G, or A plus K, they're all referred to as simultaneous presses. To get any of these to come out, you need to press these 2 buttons together. B plus K is one that isn't binded by default, so you have to press Y and B together on the controller to get them. And it's not a problem, you get used to it. I have my B plus K not bound to a button. I have to actually manually press B and K together, which is fine. And sometimes you'll mess up the input, but you get used to it. If you really don't like it, you can bind it to something if you want. You can sacrifice a bind and then put it on. So yeah, that's general basics. Additional stuff, you have WR, which means warising. Some people have changed that to WS for Natsu. I think while standing. I don't know why they changed WR to WS for Natsu because of her wind roll stance is also abbreviated to WR. But I've suggested an alternative to that. We can just call it NWR, Natsu wind roll. Solves the problem. NWR for the stance, WR for while rising. Easy enough. I don't see why that shouldn't be implemented into the frame data. I think that makes sense. That's what I like to use and go by. And yes, stances will be referred to as abbreviations. Pyrrha 236 is Angel Step, but it's just AS. Patroclus has Justice Step, JS. Natsu Possession is just abbreviated to PO to make it easier. So you recognise these things. Certain moves may have their own abbreviation. So APAT Twister with Just Frame is JFT, Just Frame Twister. Natsu, this is one I've come up with that I think people should adopt. I hope they do adopt it. I think it's it clarifies things, makes it easier. Kuzukuri, I like to have it as KUZ because it's just nice and simple. Yeah, and then you have even more sort of complex notation, pieces of notation or markers. You've got the colon, which means just frame. So you see in A6, A then 6 in notation is different to A colon 6. A colon 6 means specifically with the just frame, and this makes a difference with POA6 because the non-just frame version actually has an application that the just frame version doesn't. You can have POA6 non-just because it's a good step catcher. In step catching, it's actually better to drop the just frame than to hit the just frame in certain situations. So you need to remember to only include a just frame when you need to include a just frame, and most of the time you haven't got to worry about it. Everyone knows A6 means A6 just frame, but sometimes it will make a difference. Other ones, you have the bracket, or literally the word hold. So B hold or B in brackets just means you hold down the button, the B button. What else have we got? Got the sort of squiggly, I think it's called a tilde, squiggly sort of arrow thing. This means basically it's code for leads into, follows into. It's for combos or sequences or strings. So you'd have 3KK tilde AA, which means 3KK on hit or block, continue with AA, leads into, follows up with. So that's that. What's it there? Oh, exclamation mark and then W, or the other way around. W exclamation mark means wall hit. So pretty self-explanatory. So if you see A6 W exclamation mark, A6 W exclamation mark, A6, it means wall combo. A6 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 in the wall combo. CE is critical edge. CE. BE brave edge. Because who wants to type out 256 256 A plus B plus K when they want to say CE? I mean, you wouldn't. I mean, that's most of it. Yeah, I double digit, 2 digits together, 2 numbers, means 8-way run, which means it's hard to explain. It's a different set of moves. When you can get a 6-6 input by just holding down 6, but we don't want that. That's too slow. To do one of these, you just tap 6 and then tap it again, but hold it on the second tap. It's how you get moves like Patroclus 6-6B, which is his stab thing that everyone loves. A really famous 6-6B move that's easily identifiable. Pyrrha 6-6B is quite recognisable. Or Omega 6-6B, the one where she does that massive swing up into the air and you get chucked flying high if you don't block it. That thing. You input that. You know how to do it. As in most things, you know this already, but you don't know the notation to it. You just know how to do it. Now you know the notation. You can take it one level further. You can bring your game up to a high level. You can find things out using the frame data. So yeah, that's it. That's literally notation. That's it. It's in 15-16 minutes or 17. That's notation. So you got the numbers. Just look at a number pad, memorize the layout. You got the buttons again. Just remember it. It's only 4 buttons. A on the X, B on the Y, K on the B, G on the A. And then you've got the more advanced stuff, and this over time you'll get used to this. You'll get into the habit of writing your notation to your friends or who you play with. Start to express combos in notation. For example, you'd have let's take Leixia 3B plus K. That's just get into the habit of writing like that, because it's much better to express yourself in that way on SoulCal, because it just helps you understand and get a grasp on the moves instead of just sort of thinking, okay, what's that move? The one where she scoops the sword up and then she sort of like presses it into you and you get hit to the floor. That standard combo. You know that? Yeah, I know that. You just say it as 3B plus K, and everyone's like, oh yeah, that. Yeah, I know that. That's the basic bread and butter combo. Yeah, that's notation. And the next video will be on how to take that into frame data and how to use that, how to implement that into your game, how to make use of frame data, because you can't do that until you tackle notation, because notation is the first step into moving up from sort of just a casual player into someone who actually wants to stand out and make their play, play beyond that just an average online play. If you play the game long enough, you learn how to play. You get good. You know the combos, but now you want to move up. You want to challenge yourself. You want to go a bit further. You want to access material that it isn't there. It's not there for everyone. It's there, but it's not easy accessible. But to read it, you need to learn notation first. This is the first tool to unlock all the information. So yeah, take that. Take what I've said here. Go over it in your heads. I'll provide images in this video over the commentary to help illustrate. And yeah, good luck. So the next video will be how to take this information and apply it to frame data. Okay.